Restaurant industry is not easy. And I keep on telling people that don't think that the first year you get into the restaurant industry, you'll become a millionaire. Because if that's what you're thinking and getting into it, I'm sorry, this is not a place for you to go in. Restaurant industry is not all about making good food. It's not about that. It's about how you market your product, how you keep yourself into strict finances. Those are all important parts of running a business. So you're not running a restaurant, you're running a business.
What would be the first business you'd start tomorrow?
Let's say if I put myself back, probably I would have done.
Welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs, growing 1% everyday podcast. Hello and welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs podcast, where we get to discuss how to grow 1% every day in both business and self. Today, we have a teacher and an incredible entrepreneur, Shivani Dhamija, the owner of Shivani's Kitchen in Nova Scotia, Canada, is making waves with her traditional Indian cuisine. Shivani has an incredible story starting at humble beginnings and evolving to a Canadian powerhouse. Excited to talk to her about her story of building her business and how she broke through and got her products into Costco and other major distributors across Canada. Thank you, Shivani, for joining us today.
Thank you, Kyle, for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I'm excited to dive into your story because you've really done something not traditional. You've come with came from out of the country. You moved into the area and you're in a very secluded area in Northeast Canada, right? And
Yes.
Developed a business that focused on traditional cuisines, but doing it in a way that made it applicable for everybody and really gave that opportunity for everyone to taste this amazing Indian food. Can you dive into your story, explain to me kind of how this all came to be and what gives you the passion and motivation to do it today?
My story is no different from any other immigrant. We landed up in 2011 in Canada and I didn't get a job over here. So even though I was a little highly educated over here, I did a master's in it back in home. I just got a customer service job that too after a lot of references, and which now I understand that coming in a different country and not understanding the language completely, I could not get a job like of a high position, which I was expecting. So I had to start from scratch. But at that time, I was like, oh, I don't want to do a customer service job. But then I started something, meal delivery services in 2014. And people used to come to my house and pick up food. But every time there was a new opportunity, I used to take from that opportunity. From meal delivery services, I started cooking classes. And, there are a lot of stories. There has been always something which has pushed me back. For example, when I was doing cooking classes, I started with only like one person. And then finally, like 7-8 people started coming to my cooking class. And then I got an inspector coming to my house and then he said, like, oh, you can't do any cooking classes in your house. And I started crying and I was like, boy, where do I go then? Because I just built up a name. So it pushed me to get out and go to a community center. So every time there was a pushback, and I used to cry a little bit, but then I also started look to find other ways to grow my business.
I love that. I love it. And coming with a master's degree and then having to go into customer service and a very low end starting job. What was the first job? What was the first one that you started with?
It was just like a rec center. It was just customer service at a rec center, which I personally didn't like, but now I would love to go back and do that job.
I love that. But coming with such a pedigree and then being able to humble yourself and put yourself in a position to learn. And then, you start off with the cooking classes and then the cooking classes get smacked down by inspectors and then you have to redevelop. Talk about that process of being that real entrepreneur and having that roadblock put in your face and that stop happen. How was your mindset? Obviously it hit you hard for a little bit, shed some tears, but the motivation that comes out of that, the determination that comes out of it. Walk us through a little bit of how you restructured your mindset to make it into an opportunity instead of something that would stop you.
I think I'm built like that. I do cry for at least 1 or 2 days. That's for sure. And I'm like, I want to close this business. This is done. And I think every week I think about it, but then I'm like, oh, I cannot give up. I have to try one more time. I just don't have the habit of giving up. I keep on trying. So, for example, I think this is one of my good habits is that I learn from my mistakes. For example, when I was in a restaurant, I had a restaurant in 2019 and somebody came for my cooking class and I was late for my own cooking class. So that was a negative part. And then when I was late, I think I gave her water, like people water in glasses of water, like glasses. And I think the customer complained that, oh, she charges so much, but she doesn't even have bottled water. And I was like, and I didn't like it. She gave me a long email of that complaint, and I was like, I'm done with the cooking classes. But the next day I was like, okay, I need to just take out all that criticism and put those in the good. So next time I kept bottled water in my class. So you just need to learn. There's always criticism, there's always challenges. For example, in our Walmart launch, we had this big trouble of barcodes, and the product was actually leaving on the truck or leaving on the Walmart on their way to Walmart. And we had to stop the truck and say, all the barcodes are wrong. Please put them back to our warehouse. And that delayed our Walmart launch for 2 to 3 weeks. It definitely, I was like, kind of, I thought I'm getting a heart attack, but I did not. I'm still here.
True entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, that's really what it is when you see these for all the entrepreneurs and all the business owners listening right now, you probably ears are perking up because you've gone through the same problems. You've gone through the same issues of the difficulties get placed in front of you, but it is your spirit and it is your internal motivation. It's the person that you are that truly makes you into an entrepreneur. But we got to back up a little bit. You went straight from cooking classes to distributing to Walmart. Let's fill in the holes here. So you started the cooking classes, you got into the rec center, and that allowed you to bring in more of a community. I'm assuming the cooking classes grew. You started a restaurant for a little bit there, but how did you get into the distribution of your product? Can you dive into that a little bit?
So when I used to do cooking classes, people used to ask me this question, where do you get your spices from? And I still get those questions. And I used to tell them that we used to get from here. And that's where the idea came in. Why don't I start selling my spice blends? And I remember the first spice blend was actually in what is that called? The pouch.
Like a Ziploc bag?
Yeah, a Ziploc bag. That's where I started. And then I thought, okay, let me get bottles. And then I got those Avery labels and printed those in a library. And I started from farmer's market. So I took those spices. They were not cheap spices because I used to make them at home. And I used to go to different farmers market. And that's where I built my reputation that we do good spice blends. In 2018, I got this opportunity from one farmers market that they wanted us to open like a full-time something, like full-time spice place. And I told I could not make enough money if I just sell spices. So let me open a restaurant. And that's how the restaurant.
And so that's how the restaurant came to be, was just trying to mass produce the spices itself and actually being able to develop it. Okay. And do you want to give us some background around the restaurant? I know that it's not open today, but you want to give us a little bit. I don't know if it's, I don't want to make you shed a tear, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about what happened.
I don't, after I've cried, I don't cry again about that part. So no, it was in 2018 when I opened the restaurant. It was at a port. So it got closed in 2020 because of the COVID. I still remember I was in Jamaica and this COVID news spread like Canada is closing and everything. And I was there at that time and we ran back and the restaurant was closed. And but I had already made a business. When I had opened my restaurant, I used to do multiple things from my restaurant. I used to do cooking classes. I used to go to different farmers market. I used to still do my spice business. And so that's where the reputation came in for the spice queen became. So in 2020, when the restaurant closed, the only avenue left was selling distribution and spices. And that was through Sobeys. And so when that opportunity came up, I think I was like shouting. I was like, I got this opportunity, but it was not an easy one. We closed the restaurant and then we started the production company.
Gotcha. So did you use the brick and mortar of the restaurant to do all the production, or did you have to start a new facility?
We had to start a new facility because a lot of people don't know that to supply to retailers, you have to have a federal facility, a federal kitchen, which needs to be enclosed from everywhere. So I used to explain to people a lot that, have you been to ICU? You probably have not, because it's so much restricted. And that's kind of the facility, a commercial federal facility is, that is almost like entering an ICU or a lab where you have to wear lab coats, a head mask, and all those different kinds of masks. it was a very different facility than a restaurant. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and that all came from just you getting your reputation out there, being a part of the community, obviously doing the cooking classes,
Yeah.
opening the restaurant, and it must have been delivering incredible food if people still
Mm,
had such a higher desire
mm.
for the actual distribution of these products. Dive a little bit into, so the restaurant closes because of COVID. You start your distribution facility focusing on spices. How does the door open for Costco and for Walmart? How do these things happen? Was it just the grace of God, or was it a connection that you made? What actually came about to get those distribution centers?
I think it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of kind of sending emails and trying to build a connection and trying to build a brand. That is really important, because a lot of stores actually connected back to us when, because we have built up that brand by now. Walmart approached us, but Costco we have been talking for almost 2 to 3 years. So finally we got Costco, and it's not easy in uh, to even to get every step is difficult, and every retailer is different, and handling them is different. We took a lot of baby steps, but a lot of my marketing degree and a lot of help from our team really helped me out.
Ah, I love that. So a lot of sweat equity, a lot of outreach, and then just a lot of, again, good quality service. And for the restaurant owners that are curious of how to get into this category, remember the timeline of her story. It started off with helping people and delivering high quality product, which is a necessity. So talk to me. What does Shivani's Kitchen look like today? What are you guys currently doing? Are you thinking about opening a new restaurant? Are you just focusing on distribution? Talk to me a little bit about the products that you have and what the business looks like.
Opening a restaurant is not easy. I have worked in a restaurant industry, and you have to commit 24/7. So I think I like my weekends off. I won't be stepping into restaurant industry. For if you are in restaurant, you know that you don't get Canada Day off, you don't get Christmas Day off. You are working all day. So I would like to spend time with my family in this industry, at least. Yes, I'm working Monday to Friday like hell, but Saturday, Sunday, I am with my family. So getting into restaurants definitely out of question for now. But yes, our current goal is expanding to all across Canada this year, and probably expanding to other countries depending on different rules and tariffs regulations. But yes.
I love that. So, and then currently, where can people find your product today? Obviously, in the Costco shelves, in Walmart shelves, and anywhere else it can be found.
So we're not all across Canada yet. In Ontario, you can find us in Rabba stores. In Atlantic Canada, you can probably find us at Sobeys, and there's Costco and Walmart, all of them. But if you're in Ontario, or if you're in the West Coast, then probably you're not still finding us. We're still waiting, trying to find ways to reach there.
Beautiful. Okay, let's dive into the food a little bit, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
looking at the website here, and I'm kind of looking at the different categories. But I'm a huge butter chicken fan. It's probably, I don't know if it's your best seller, but I have a pride in finding the best Indian foods around my local area, and always testing their butter chicken to see which one is better. Dive into, you got a multiple different products here. Everything from, it looks like 5 gallon liters of sauce bases, all the
Yeah.
ways for meals ready to go. So can you break down a little bit of what you have in inventory and kind of what you're selling today?
So we are selling it's a paneer, which is like a cottage cheese, but it's Indian cottage cheese. That's what we are selling in Ontario and in Atlantic Canada. That's our top seller. And then we just recently launched our sauce bases, which are actually, we had them before, but we relaunched them with removing the regular oil and adding non-GMO oil, to target the people who like eating healthy Indian food. So those are the two products which we are focusing on. One is the 270 ml, which is in Atlantic Canada Walmart, and then the 4 liter base sauces are for the restaurant industry who want to make their life easy.
Oh, I love that. Do you have a direct to consumer outlet soon to come? If people that are listening to this that maybe they're in West Canada, are they going to be able to buy directly online from you, or are you going to strictly stay with the distribution centers?
So here's the thing: we again, shipping is another part which is not easy, and we used to have a Shopify website which used to, like, we could ship all across, but shipping is not cheap. is not cheap. So we decided after a lot many years that we'll stick to the retailers and distribution companies. But if there's a consumer who is looking to buy products directly from us, they can talk to their distribution company. Everyone uses Cisco or GFS or somebody, and they can bring our products over there. So that may be that's the way we want them to go with.
Have a desire for the product in other areas, and that's what's going to bring the distribution. That it seems
Yes.
like the best way to break into Western Canada as well. So if people are asking for you, then the distributors are going to bring it. I love this. Let's piece off a little bit from the restaurant and focus a little bit more on your entrepreneurial journey. Obviously, you've gone through some serious trials and tribulations to get where you are today, but do you have either a specific story or something that you would like to tell our listeners here that are mainly restaurant owners and entrepreneurs about something that, you know, made you into the entrepreneur you are today? Any lessons or anything that you would give as recommendations for up and coming people looking to either start either a restaurant or distributing their food or just getting into their entrepreneurial path today?
I think the number one is that restaurant industry is not easy. And I keep on telling people that don't think that the first year you get into the restaurant industry, you'll become a millionaire. Because if that's what you're thinking and getting into it, I'm sorry, this is not a place for you to go in. I still remember my father-in-law. I made what is this called? Cash flow sheet. I made that projection sheet and this cash flow sheet and I showed it to him and he was like, Shivani, you redo those numbers. You're not getting any profit in the first 3 years. And I was like, no, you're a fool. But no, actually, he was not a fool. And I actually faced it. I have faced loss for many years and I did not pay myself for so many years. So be ready for that. The only way is like restaurant industry is not that all about making good food. It's not about that. It's about how you market your product, how you keep yourself into strict finances and keep paying yourself. Those are all important parts of running a business. So you're not running a restaurant, you're running a business.
That's
Those
a
are the
great piece
things
of advice. Yeah, you're running a business. You're not running a restaurant. Restaurant might be what you give to the client, but at the end of the day, you are running a business and having strict P&Ls. I've had this in multiple other podcasts with restaurant owners that talk about, you know, they say 90% of businesses fail within the first 5 years, and I think restaurants are a major percentage of that population. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And again, for the restaurant owners and the entrepreneurs out there, if you're looking to get in the restaurant space, make sure you treat it like a business. Make sure that you have P&Ls correct. Make sure you understand your waste costs. Make sure you understand your employment costs, your overhead, your cost of goods sold of every plate. It is a strict numbers game because you are playing with high volume and low margins. And that is the most difficult type of business to be successful with. Let's go into kind of the future goals. You talked about this year you want to expand across Canada. Do you have a marketing plan or a structure that you're putting into place to try to get over into Western Canada?
You know, shipping to US is cheaper than to ship to Western Canada.
Really?
Yeah, or probably shipping to Europe is actually probably way cheaper than to ship it to Western Canada or even to US. So no, our target is that we get a distributor who can ship all across for us rather than we sending our products to Western Canada distributor and they focus only in the Western. So yes, we definitely have a business plan. We have a business consultant who is always with us and giving us advice. We always are looking for somebody who has an outer opinion that how we should structure our business and what game plan should be going on.
So you constantly have goal structures, you have an outlet, you have a plan for it. That's what you need to be successful. I got to ask you, right? You've obviously developed, and you've mentioned this a little bit before about how it's a part of you that you treat these, say the failures as just lessons, right? Things that happen to you as lessons and improvements that you can go forward. And that really embodies the concept of Kaizen. For the listeners out there that haven't heard the term before, Kaizen is a Japanese business philosophy that means 1% progression every day in both business and itself. So Shivani, I have to ask you, how do you find your Kaizen? Obviously you're boots on the ground, you're working the business and you're evolving from there. But is there anything else that you do outside of being hands-on in your company to improve yourself, improve your business, improve the people around you? What do you do to find your Kaizen?
We have to continuously improve every day. I cannot be the old Shivani, which was a year ago. I don't mind going and making the product myself, or I don't mind. So I tell people that in my business, I'm the person who cleans. I'm the person who makes. I'm the person who markets. So we do everything. And yes, it's continuous improvement. One of the good things which I will tell is that I let my team, everyone has their own focus, and I let them do their own part. So, because like the sales team, they have their own part and they're very good at it. And I try not to interfere unless needed. So that is what another thing which I have learned, or the logistics company, unless the logistics team, they don't need me. I'm like in continuous touch with them, obviously, but I don't interfere in their part because they're good at what they're doing. So I'm not sure that's the answer to your question, but yes, we have to improve, or else we'll die like probably BlackBerry.
Yeah, yeah, great example, great example, and a great golden nugget that you put in there is just having the trust in the expertise of the individuals that are in specific categories of your business.
Yeah.
I have to ask you because it's ringing in my head now. What did you have a master's degree in?
Public relations and marketing.
Oh, really? So is there something that drove you to the restaurant industry? Is there something that drove you this direction instead of doing something else?
I don't know. I never wanted to open a restaurant. I never wanted to get into the food industry. I just this colleague of mine in Canada Gain Center, when I was working at the rec center, he was going somewhere and she wanted food for her brother for that 2 weeks that she was gone. And that's how it started, because I made food for him and I charged him $10 per meal. And that's how I started. I would have never started if she would not have asked me.
Wow, and it evolved into this.
Yeah, I had marketing degree, so that's why I started using that degree to was doing my food.
Okay, so this is a bonus question. Don't ask all the restaurant owners this because a lot of restaurant owners love what they do, or anybody in the food industry. But I have to ask you this one. Have you ever heard of the book Atlas Shrugs?
No.
So Atlas Shrugs is a massive book. I really don't recommend the read. It's not that very good of a book, but the concept's really awesome. For the listeners out there that haven't heard of the book before, Atlas Shrugs is a book that explains that the world that we know it today is moved forward every day by business owners, entrepreneurs like you, me, and the ones listening to this right now. We put the world and the pressure of our employees and pressure of the consumer base and pressure of success on our shoulders. And it's because of that, the world changes and the world's allowed to move forward. If you just have an idea and maybe you're doing some work for your buddy, or maybe you just started just as you started with a simple single meal, it could be a business, but it doesn't change the world. It's not until you do what she has done and really evolve it into a major enterprise or into a major business where it actually starts changing the world. So my question to you, Shivani, is that if Atlas Shrugged today, and all of us walked away from our businesses. I walked away from our marketing agency. You walked away from Shivani's Kitchen, and the world was a blue ocean, and you could have any opportunity to do any business that you want. If we Atlas Shrugged today and all of us walked away from our business, what would be the first business you'd start tomorrow?
Let's clip on marketing.
Marketing.
I'm good at that. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, it's where your degree comes in. Is there any specific type of marketing? Would you do specifically for distribution companies? Would you be doing digital ads like what we do at Kaizen and doing paid media? What kind of marketing do you like the most?
It's been 10 years I've done that degree. If I, let's say, if I go by myself, like put myself back, probably I would have done something relations.
Okay. And specifically in PR, doing press releases.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I
would love for you to think about that, because obviously your success and your understanding of marketing is what brought the business to where it is today.
Yeah.
And I always think it's a great question, because at the end of the day, we all fall into what we do in us, right? I fell into this business because I became a professional paintball player and marketing wasn't a good represented correctly. And that's how I fell into my business. But as you did, you fell into it just simply from somebody asking for some meals on a journey. And then that led to this enterprise that you have today. Shivani, it's been awesome talking to you. Your story is incredible. Your tenacity and your willingness to improve yourself and your business, and really to be able to pivot from everything from the cooking classes, then to a restaurant, then COVID hits, and then you move into a distribution facility. A young Jeff Bezos over here, really creating an enterprise in Canada. For the listeners out there that maybe they want to try your food or they want to learn a little bit more about you, how could they get in contact with you? How could they find a little bit more about Shivani's Kitchen?
You can just go visit our website called shivaniskitchen.ca and you can connect with us directly. And we will make sure you get the traditional Indian food.
Awesome. I absolutely love that. That website will be found below in the description. If you guys have finished this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Shivani, thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. And we'll see everybody on the next one.